28 is that age where you stop expecting the big celebrations. No balloon arches or three-tier cakes. You just want someone to remember. To call. To text. To say, "Hey, you matter." But my family always had a special talent for turning your day into something you'd rather forget. I woke up on Saturday, March 15th, and the first thing I did was check my phone. No messages. No calls. Even Mom, who usually sends some random emoji at 6 in the morning, was silent. Okay. Maybe they're planning something. I made myself coffee, sat by the window of my tiny one-bedroom apartment, and watched the sun crawl up over the city. My life wasn't perfect. I worked as an assistant manager at a local electronics store, drove a beat-up Honda Civic with a bumper held on by duct tape and prayers, and my apartment looked like it had been furnished through Craigslist during a mild existential crisis. The couch sagged in the middle. The kitchen faucet dripped no matter how many times I tightened it. My bedroom window didn't close all the way, so I could hear every ambulance, every drunk argument, every 3 a.m. motorcycle revving like the world's worst alarm clock. But I wasn't complaining. I paid rent on time. Had no debt. Didn't ask anyone for anything. And for the last 2 years, I'd been quietly saving money for something bigger, maybe a small business. Something of my own. At 9 a.m., a text finally came through. "Mom. Happy birthday, sweetie. Meet us at 6 p.m. Surprise winking face. I stared at that message for a good 5 minutes. A surprise? From my family? The last time they threw me a surprise, it was an invitation to dinner where I found out I was expected to pay for everyone because you have a job now. I'd spent $140 that night. Nobody said thank you. But I decided not to be cynical. Maybe this year would be different. Spoiler, it wouldn't be. At 5 p.m., I put on my best shirt, a dark blue button-up I'd bought on clearance at Target a year ago and worn exactly 3 times. Splashed on cologne that smelled vaguely like man trying too hard but in a safe way. Even combed my hair. When I pulled up to the address Mom had texted, my heart soared somewhere around my throat, then dropped straight back down. Golden Corral. Not some nice family restaurant. Not a steakhouse. Not even Olive Garden with their endless breadsticks. A Golden Corral buffet. The kind of place where the food looks like it lost a fight with time about a week ago. I sat in my car, staring at the neon sign flickering like it was begging for mercy. Maybe this is a joke? Maybe the real place is somewhere else? My phone buzzed. "Mom, where are you? We're all here." I took a deep breath, turned off the engine, and walked inside. The smell hit me first. Fried everything, industrial cleaning solution, and something vaguely sweet that might have been cobbler or regret. The lighting was that special kind of fluorescent that makes everyone look either dead or about to be. They were sitting at a big table by the window, Mom, Dad, my older sister Jessica, her husband Chris, my younger brother Ethan, and even my cousin Melanie with her perpetually judgmental smirk. Mom waved at me like we were at a parade. "Eden! Over here, sweetie." I walked over, and everyone looked at me with that expression that can only be described as, "We're physically here, but mentally we've already left." "Hey," I said, trying to smile. "Happy birthday, bro," Ethan muttered, not looking up from his phone. Jessica nodded. Chris chewed something. Melanie rolled her eyes. Dad pointed at the buffet. "Well, go on, grab a plate. It's all you can eat. Really load up. Get your money's worth." He paused. "Well, our money's worth. All you can eat." My 28 years of existence had been reduced to all you can eat. At Golden Corral. I grabbed a plate and walked to the buffet. The mashed potatoes looked suspiciously gray. The fried chicken glistened under heat lamps with a sheen that was either oil or protective coating. The mac and cheese had formed a skin. The green beans floated in something that might have been butter but looked more like regret. I loaded up my plate and headed back to the table. Nobody asked how I was doing. Nobody asked about work, about my week, about anything. Jessica was talking about the new SUV she and Chris had just leased, a Lexus, because we deserve something nice, you know? Melanie was complaining about her friend Brittany who totally stole her Instagram aesthetic. Ethan was still on his phone, watching TikToks with the volume just loud enough to be annoying. Dad was eating like it was a competitive sport. Mom scrolled through the dessert menu like it held ancient secrets. I sat there, chewing rubbery beef, and felt like a background extra in my own life. Then came the moment. Mom reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. One of those cheap ones they sell at CVS. My name was written on it in black Sharpie, and the handwriting looked like it had been written in the car on the way here. "Here you go, sweetie," she said, handing me the envelope. "We all signed it." I took it, feeling something inside me already starting to tighten. I opened it. The card was generic. Front had a cartoon cake and the words, "Happy Birthday," in Comic Sans font. Inside, no money, no gift card, no check. Just a few signatures. "Happy birthday. Hope it's great. Mom and Dad. Have a good one. Jessica and Chris. Yo. Ethan." And then, at the bottom, in Melanie's looping handwriting, "Maybe next year you'll do something worth celebrating." Faced with tears of joy. I read it once. Twice. 3 times. I looked up. Melanie was smiling. Jessica was giggling. Mom was chuckling like, "Oh, that Melanie, always such a kidder." Dad laughed and said, "She got you good." "It's just a joke, Eden," Melanie said. "Don't take it so seriously. God, you're always so sensitive." There it was. The word. Sensitive. The word they always used when they wanted to make me feel like the problem. Dad nodded. "Yeah, lighten up. We're just having fun." I sat there, holding that card, and felt something inside me quietly break. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a soft, clean snap. Not anger. Not tears. Just clarity. They didn't respect me. Never had. I'd always been the backup. The reliable one. The one who shows up when needed and pays when asked and laughs at jokes that aren't funny. I was the person they called when they needed something. Never when they wanted to celebrate something. I folded the card, put it in my jacket pocket, and pulled out my phone. "What are you doing?" Mom asked. "Taking a photo," I said calmly. I held up the card, making sure the message was clearly visible, and took a selfie. Me, expressionless, holding the card. The Golden Corral table full of sad buffet food in the background. The family sitting there, mid-chew, mid-laugh, mid-oblivious. Flash. Click. "Why are you taking a picture of that?" Jessica asked. I didn't answer. I just stood up and picked up my jacket. "Where are you going?" Mom asked. "Home. But we haven't even ordered the cake yet." "Don't bother." I walked toward the exit. Nobody followed. Nobody called out. As I pushed through the double doors, I heard them behind me, laughing. Moving on like I'd never been there. In my car, I sat in silence for a full minute, hands on the steering wheel. Then I opened my phone, looked at the photo, and did something I'd never done before. I posted it. Facebook. Instagram. Twitter. The caption was simple. 28 years old. Golden Corral. A card that says I'm not good enough. Happy birthday to me. Thanks for the reminder of who I am to you. My finger hovered over the post button. Then I pressed it. I put my phone face down on the passenger seat, started the car, and drove home. I didn't know what to expect. But what happened next changed everything. The first notification came at 6:47 p.m. I was sitting on my couch, eating leftover pizza from 2 days ago that had gone from questionable to probably fine, when my phone buzzed. Then it buzzed again. And again. And again. I picked it up. 17 notifications. All from the post. The first comment was from my old college roommate Jake. "Dude! What the hell? This is messed up." Then Sarah, a girl I used to work with at my first retail job. "I'm so sorry. You deserve better than this." Then comments from people I barely knew. Friends of friends. Strangers who'd somehow stumbled across it. "This is heartbreaking. Your family should be ashamed. Golden Corral? For a birthday? Are you kidding me? That card is straight up emotional abuse." Within an hour, the post had 50 shares. By 8 p.m., it was over 200. By 9 p.m., it had broken 1,000. People were tagging their own families, sharing it on their stories, adding their own captions like, "This is why I don't talk to my relatives anymore," and "Some families don't deserve you." One person wrote, "I felt this in my soul. Stay strong." Another, "You're worth celebrating. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." I sat there, watching the numbers climb, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Seen. Not pitied. Not mocked. Just seen. Someone even sent me a private message. "Hey man, I don't know you, but I want you to know that what they did was wrong. You matter. Happy birthday." I saved that one. By 9 p.m., my phone was blowing up, but not from strangers anymore. From family. The group chat I'd been ignoring all evening suddenly came alive like someone had poked a hornet's nest with a stick. "Jessica, why would you post that? You're making us look bad." "Melanie, it was a joke." "God, you're so sensitive." "This is embarrassing." "Ethan, bro, take it down. Mom's freaking out." "Mom." "Eden, please delete that post. People are calling me. This is really embarrassing." "Embarrassing." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "We messed up." Not, "We didn't realize how hurtful that was." Embarrassing. I didn't reply to any of them. Just muted the group chat and kept scrolling through the comments on my post. Hundreds of people were sharing their own stories. People who'd been forgotten, overlooked, treated like afterthoughts by their own families. I wasn't alone. That realization hit harder than I expected. I went to bed that night with my phone still buzzing on my nightstand. I didn't turn it off. I wanted to hear every single notification. Every single validation that I wasn't crazy. That what they did was wrong. Sunday morning, I woke up to over 400 comments and more than 1,500 shares. The post had gone viral, at least in my little corner of the internet. Local Facebook groups were picking it up. Someone had screenshotted it and posted it to Twitter, where it was getting even more traction. One tweet said, "This is why chosen family matters more than blood. You don't owe toxic people your presence just because you shared DNA." It had 12,000 likes. My phone rang. It was Mom. I let it ring. She called again. And again. 4 times in a row. On the 5th call, I picked up. "Eden, you need to take that post down. Right now." Her voice was sharp. Angry. Not apologetic, just angry. "Why?" I asked calmly. "Because you're making the whole family look awful. People are messaging me, calling your father, even contacting Jessica at her work. Do you know how humiliating this is?" "Maybe that's because what you did was awful," I said. Silence. The kind that feels like static. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. You took me to a cheap buffet, handed me a card that basically said I'm a disappointment, laughed about it, and now you're mad because people saw what you did. It was a joke. Melanie didn't mean anything by it. You're blowing this completely out of proportion." "Then why is nobody laughing now?" I asked. She sputtered. "You're being dramatic. This is how we are. We tease each other. You know that. You've always been so sensitive about everything." "No, Mom. You tease me. And I'm done pretending it's funny." "So what, you're just going to air our private family business to the entire internet? That's your solution? To humiliate us?" I posted the truth. "If the truth humiliates you, maybe you should think about why that is." I could hear her breathing on the other end. Heavy. Frustrated. "Your father wants to talk to you," she said finally. "Tell Dad I'm busy." "Eden." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From something else. Something that felt a lot like freedom. Like I'd been carrying a weight for 28 years and had just set it down for the first time. I made myself breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, coffee, and sat at my small kitchen table scrolling through more comments. People were sharing resources. Therapy recommendations. Support groups for people estranged from toxic families. One message stood out. It was from a woman named Claire. "Hi Eden. I saw your post. I know this might sound weird, but I went through something similar with my family 2 years ago. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. Sometimes it helps to know you're not alone. I clicked on her profile. She looked normal, mid-30s, marketing professional, had a golden retriever named Biscuit. Her page was full of hiking photos and book recommendations. I typed back, "Thanks. That actually means a lot." She responded within minutes. Family stuff is the hardest. Especially when they gaslight you into thinking you're the problem. But you're not. What you did, posting the truth, that took real courage. We talked for over an hour. She told me about her own story, how her parents had forgotten her college graduation but threw a massive party for her younger brother's engagement a week later. How she'd eventually gone low contact and had never felt more at peace. "You don't owe them your silence," she said. "You don't owe them anything." That hit me like a truck. By the end of the weekend, I'd gotten dozens of messages from people sharing their own stories. Some were heartbreaking. Some were validating. All of them reminded me I wasn't alone. And my family? They went quiet for exactly one day. Then, on Monday morning, something happened that made me realize they weren't done. Not even close. Monday afternoon, I was at work restocking shelves in the TV section when my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "Hi Eden, this is your Aunt Linda. I just wanted to reach out because your mother is beside herself. She hasn't stopped crying since yesterday. I know you're upset, but don't you think this has gone far enough? Family is family. We forgive each other. That's what we do." I stared at that message for a long moment. Aunt Linda. Mom's older sister. The family mediator. The one who always showed up to smooth things over whenever someone dared to have feelings. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another text. This time from my Uncle Ray. "Hey kiddo. Saw what happened? Look, your mom and dad aren't perfect, but they love you. Maybe just take the post down, and we can all move on. No need to drag this out." Then my grandmother said, "Sweetheart, I heard about the birthday situation. I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding. Your mother has a good heart. Please don't shut them out." They were mobilizing. Calling in reinforcements. Trying to guilt me back into the fold. The funny thing? None of them said what happened was wrong. None of them acknowledged that a card telling someone they're not worth celebrating is cruel. They just wanted me to shut up and pretend it never happened. I blocked Aunt Linda's number. Then Uncle Ray's. Then my grandmother's. Not out of spite. Out of necessity. Because I knew what would happen if I didn't. They'd keep pushing. Keep nudging. Keep trying to convince me that my feelings were wrong and their behavior was fine. That night, I got a call from Dad. I almost didn't answer. But something told me to. "Hello? You've really done it now, haven't you?" His voice was cold. Flat. "Done what?" "You've turned the whole family against each other. Your mother is devastated. Jessica won't stop crying. Even your grandmother is upset. All because you couldn't take a joke." "It wasn't a joke, Dad." "It was. Melanie was just trying to be funny. You've always been too sensitive. Ever since you were a kid. Always making mountains out of molehills. So me being hurt by a card that said I'm not worth celebrating is making a mountain out of a molehill?" "Yes. Because it wasn't serious. Nobody meant it that way. You're the one who decided to blow it up and embarrass us all on social media like some kind of... I don't even know what." I took a deep breath. "Dad, have you ever once asked me how I'm doing? Not as a setup to ask for something. Just because you actually cared?" Silence. "Have you ever remembered my birthday without being reminded? Ever called just to talk? Ever showed up for me the way you show up for Jessica or Ethan?" More silence. "That's what I thought," I said quietly. "I'm not taking the post down. And I'm not apologizing for telling the truth." "Then you're not welcome at Thanksgiving." I almost laughed. "I wasn't planning on coming anyway." He hung up. I sat there on my couch, phone in my hand, and waited to feel sad. Waited for the guilt to kick in. For the doubt. But it didn't come. Instead, I felt lighter. 3 days after my birthday, the family group chat exploded. I hadn't unmuted it yet, but I could see the notification count climbing. 47 unread messages. Then 52. Then 68. Finally, curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. And what I saw made me smile for the first time in days. The group chat was chaos. Mom, I just got off the phone with Barbara from church. She saw the post. I'm humiliated. Jessica. My boss asked me about it today. My boss. Do you know how unprofessional that makes me look? Melanie. I'm getting DMs from random people calling me toxic. This is ridiculous. I was joking. Ethan. Guys, can we just chill? It's not that deep. Jessica. Not that deep? Eden made us look like monsters. Dad. We need to do damage control. Now. Mom. What if we all post something together? Like a family statement? Melanie. Or we could just report his posts and get them taken down. I read through every message, sipping my coffee, feeling absolutely nothing but a weird sense of satisfaction. They weren't worried about me. They weren't reflecting on what they'd done. They were worried about their image. About what people thought of them. Classic. Then I saw it. The message that made everything worth it. Jessica. Wait. Someone tagged me in a comment. They're asking if this is the same Jessica who works at Morrison and Associates. Mom. What did you say? Jessica. I didn't respond. But what if clients see this? What if it affects my reputation? Melanie. Maybe Eden should have thought about that before he decided to play victim on the internet. That word. Victim. Like I was making it up. Like the card didn't exist. Like the years of being overlooked and dismissed were just my imagination. I took a screenshot of that message. Added it to a folder on my phone labeled Evidence. Not because I was planning anything. Just because I wanted to remember this moment. The moment they showed exactly who they were. Then I did something I'd been thinking about for days. I left the group chat. No explanation. No final message. Just tapped, leave group, and watched it disappear from my screen. It felt like deleting a spam folder. Tuesday morning, I woke up to an email. The subject line made me sit up straight. Interview request local news segment. I opened it. Hi Eden, my name is Andrea Mills. I'm a producer for a local news segment called Your Voice Matters on Channel 7. We cover human interest stories in our community, and we came across your viral birthday post. We'd love to talk to you about your experience and give you a platform to share your story. Would you be interested in a brief interview? We can do it remotely if that's more comfortable. Please let me know. Best, Andrea. A news segment. My story was going to be on actual TV. I read the email 3 more times to make sure it was real. Checked Andrea's credentials, she was legit. The show was legit. They covered everything from local heroes to social issues. And now they wanted to cover me. I typed back. Hi Andrea. Yes, I'd be interested. Let me know when works for you. She responded within an hour. We scheduled a Zoom interview for Thursday afternoon. I didn't tell my family. Didn't post about it. Just kept it to myself and went about my week like normal. Work, gym, leftover Chinese food for dinner, falling asleep to Netflix documentaries about cults. But Wednesday night, I got a message that changed everything. It was from Ethan. Not in the group chat. A direct message. Hey. I know you left the chat. I don't blame you. Look, I'm not good with this stuff, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't think the card was funny. I just didn't say anything because... I don't know. I guess I didn't want to make it weird. But that was messed up. You didn't deserve that. Happy belated birthday, man. For real. I stared at that message for a long time. Ethan. The kid who never looked up from his phone. Who barely acknowledged my existence unless he needed something. He was apologizing. I typed back. Thanks. That actually means a lot. He responded immediately. Mom and Dad are freaking out about some news interview? Is that real? I smiled. Yeah. Thursday. Damn. They're gonna lose it. I know. Good luck, bro, seriously. That was the first time in years someone in my family had wished me good luck on anything. Thursday at 2 p.m. I logged into the Zoom call with Andrea. She was professional, warm, and genuinely curious. We talked for about 30 minutes. She asked about the birthday, the card, the buffet, how my family had reacted, and what the response had been online. I told her everything. Calmly. Honestly. No dramatics. Just the facts. At one point, she asked, "What do you want people to take away from this story?" I thought about it. I want people to know it's okay to set boundaries. Even with family. Especially with family. You don't owe anyone your silence just because you shared DNA. She smiled. That's powerful. The segment was set to air Monday evening. I thanked her, ended the call, and sat back in my chair. This was really happening. By Friday, word had somehow gotten back to my family. I don't know how. Maybe someone from the news station reached out for comment, maybe they saw something online, but the messages started pouring in. Mom called 6 times. I didn't answer. Jessica sent a long text. Are you seriously doing a news interview? About us? About our private family matters? This is so far beyond acceptable, Eden. You're making a huge mistake. Dad sent one sentence. You're going to regret this. Melanie sent a laughing emoji followed by, wow. You're really milking this for attention, huh? I blocked them all. Not out of anger. Out of peace. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't waiting for their approval. Wasn't trying to fix things. Wasn't bending over backward to make them comfortable. I was just done. Saturday, I went to the farmer's market. Bought fresh strawberries, good bread, and fancy cheese I couldn't usually afford. Treated myself to brunch at a cafe I'd always wanted to try but thought was too expensive. I sat outside in the sun, ate eggs Benedict, and scrolled through messages from strangers thanking me for sharing my story. One message stood out. It was from Claire, the woman I talked to earlier. Hey Eden. I heard you're doing a news interview. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I know that sounds weird coming from someone you barely know, but I mean it. You're helping more people than you realize. I saved that message too. Sunday night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was nervous, but because I was excited. For 20 years, I'd been the background character. The one who didn't make waves. The one who swallowed hurt and called it peace. But now I was the story. And Monday night, when that segment aired, the whole city was going to see exactly what my family had done. And there was nothing they could do to stop it. Monday evening arrived like the calm before a storm I'd been waiting my whole life to witness. I got home from work at 5:30 p.m., microwaved some leftover pasta, and sat down on my couch. The segment was scheduled to air at 6 p.m. on Channel 7's evening news block. I told exactly 3 people it was happening: Claire, my coworker Devin, and Ethan, who'd promised not to tell anyone else in the family. At 5:55 p.m., my phone started buzzing. Text from Devin. Dude, I'm watching. This is wild. Then Claire. Recording it for you. You're doing amazing. At exactly 6:03 p.m., after a commercial break and a story about a local dog who saved a kid from a pool, Andrea's face appeared on screen. Tonight, we're talking about family expectations, emotional boundaries, and what happens when a simple birthday celebration becomes a viral moment that sparks a national conversation. Then my face appeared. The Zoom interview we'd recorded. Me sitting in my apartment, looking calmer than I felt, talking about the Golden Corral dinner. They showed the photo. The card. My family sitting in the background, laughing. Andrea's voiceover. Eden's post has been shared over 10,000 times, with thousands of people sharing their own stories of feeling overlooked or dismissed by their families. Then back to me. I just wanted people to know it's okay to set boundaries. You don't owe anyone your silence just because you shared DNA. The segment was 4 minutes long. 4 minutes that felt like both an eternity and a heartbeat. When it ended, I sat there in silence, staring at the TV as it cut to a weather forecast. I'd done it. I'd told my story. On actual television. And I hadn't apologized. Hadn't backtracked. Hadn't made excuses for them. My phone exploded. Devin. Bureau, you're a legend. Claire. I'm crying. That was perfect. You were perfect. Jake, my old college roommate. Just saw you on the news? What? Proud of you, man. Then the Instagram DMs started flooding in. People I hadn't talked to in years. People I'd never met. All of them with the same message: thank you for sharing, this helped me, you're not alone. One message made me stop scrolling. Hi Eden. My name is Patricia. I'm 54 years old and I just watched your story. I've spent my whole life making excuses for my family treating me like I don't matter. Watching you stand up for yourself gave me the courage to finally set boundaries with my own mother. Thank you. You changed my life tonight. I read that message 3 times. I changed someone's life. Not by doing something extraordinary. Just by refusing to stay silent. At 6:47 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Eden? A woman's voice. Shaky. Familiar. Mom. She was calling from someone else's phone because I'd blocked her. I watched the news, she said. Her voice was tight. Controlled. Like she was trying very hard not to scream. I didn't say anything. How could you do this to us? On television? Do you know how many people saw that? I know exactly what they're saying, I replied calmly. They're saying you treated me badly. Because you did. We took you to dinner. We gave you a card. We were celebrating you. You took me to the cheapest buffet you could find and gave me a card that said I'm not worth celebrating. That's not a celebration, Mom. That's an insult. She was quiet for a moment. I could hear her breathing. Heavy. Frustrated. You've turned everyone against us. Our friends, our church, even your Aunt Linda is getting messages. Your father can't even go to the grocery store without someone recognizing him. Good, I said. Maybe now you'll understand what it feels like to be seen for who you really are. You're being cruel. No, Mom. I'm being honest. There's a difference. So what now? You're just going to cut us off forever? We're your family. You're my relatives. I corrected. Family shows up. Family remembers. Family doesn't laugh when you're hurting. Eden. I'm done, Mom. I'm done explaining myself. I'm done justifying my feelings. I'm done waiting for you to care. So that's it? You're just going to throw away 28 years? No, I said quietly. You already did that. I'm just finally accepting it. I hung up. This time, my hands weren't shaking. My chest wasn't tight. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. Over the next week, the messages kept coming. The video had 200,000 views on YouTube. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. This man is a hero for speaking his truth. Everyone needs to see this. Family isn't an excuse to treat people badly. On Wednesday, I got an email from a literary agent asking if I'd consider writing a book about my experience. I replied, let's talk. By Friday, I'd gotten 3 more interview requests, 2 podcasts and a regional magazine. I said yes to all of them. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about everyone who'd ever been made to feel invisible by the people who were supposed to love them most. 2 weeks after the segment aired, I got a text from Ethan. Hey. Just wanted to let you know I moved out. Got my own place. Told Mom and Dad I needed space. They're pissed, but whatever. You were right about a lot of stuff. Thanks for showing me it's okay to choose yourself. I smiled. Maybe I hadn't lost everyone. A month later, I celebrated my 29th birthday. Not at a buffet. Not with people who tolerated me out of obligation. I celebrated at a nice restaurant downtown with Claire, Devin, Jake, and a few other friends who'd shown up for me when it mattered. We had steaks. Good wine. A chocolate lava cake with a single candle. When they sang happy birthday, they meant it. And when I blew out that candle, I didn't wish for my family to change. I wished for more moments like this. Moments where I was seen, valued, celebrated. Not because I'd earned it by shrinking myself, but because I'd finally learned I was worth it. 3 months later, Melanie posted a public apology on Facebook. I've been doing a lot of thinking. What I wrote in Eden's birthday card was hurtful and wrong. I was trying to be funny, but I was mean. Eden, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. You deserved better from all of us. I read it twice. Then I closed the app. Not because I was still angry, but because I didn't need her apology anymore. I'd already moved on. And I'd never felt better. The end.